All right, we're going to take a look at equations, and let's just refresh a little bit. If I have 4x plus 2 equals 10, how do you think we would solve that? I'm hoping you would say we would subtract 2 first. What we have left is 4x equals 8. We would divide by 4, and x equals 2. Okay, those are just two-step equations. The next one is going to be a little bit harder. What makes it a little bit harder is that I have variables and numbers on both sides of the equal sign. And we know that we want our variable on one side and our number on the other. Okay, and here's our equal sign, right? So when I look at this, I want to get rid of this 4x. I don't want it on this side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract it. But remember, equations are a balancing act, so I have to also subtract it from the other side. What do I have left is x plus 9 equals 3. I'm going to subtract 9, and x is going to be negative 6. Okay, so let's take another look at one of those types of equations. This one is going to be 2x plus 9 equals 6x plus 17. You could write this down on your paper, pause the video, and see if you get the same solution that I get for practice. When I look at this one, I'm looking at my two variables. And what I notice is that if I take 6x from this side, I'm going to end up with a negative on the other side. So I, right away, would subtract the 2x. What do I have left? 9 equals 4x plus 17. I'm going to subtract 17. And what do I have left? I have 4x and negative 8. I'm going to divide by 4. Negative divided by a positive is a negative, so I get negative 2 equals x. So sometimes equations don't always work out and have a single solution like those ones did. If I have this one, there's a couple steps that we need to do before we start solving, and that is simplifying. Over here on the right side of the equal sign, I have a positive 7x and a negative 3x. Those can be put together. So I'm just going to copy this down. There's nothing to simplify on the left, but 7x minus 3x is 4x plus 5. So I'm hoping you're noticing something, that there's a 4x on both the right and the left. So when I go to subtract the 4x, what is going to happen? So if I subtract the 4x here, I also have to do it on the left side of the equal sign. So what am I left with? Negative 3 equals 5. These would cancel, these would cancel. Is negative 3 equal to 5? No, never. They are not equal. Okay? So this equation has no solution because there is no value that would make both sides of the equal sign at the very beginning equal to each other. Okay? There's also equations that have infinite solutions. So let's take a look at one of those. All right, so this equation has some simplifying on the right and on the left. So on the left, I can put together the 6x, and the negative 2x. That gives me 4x. Then I'm left with plus 9. And on the right side of the equal sign, this 3x and x can be combined to get 4x. And I also have a plus 9. So if you notice, this equation is exactly the same on both sides of the equal sign. This has infinite solutions. Or sometimes we just say it's all real numbers. So if you get an equation where both sides of the equal sign have exactly the same thing, then it doesn't matter what number you pick for x, it will make the equation true. But in the previous example, if we looked at both sides of the equal sign and we canceled out the x's and we're only left with numbers, and those numbers are not equal to each other, then there is no solution. Okay, let's take a look at one more question to see what we get. Okay, so if you want to pause the video, copy this problem down and try it on your own to see if you get the same thing. That might be a good option. On the left, I'm going to combine the x's. So this gives me 7x plus 2 equals 7x minus 3. So I'm hoping you're seeing that there's a 7x on both sides. So what's going to happen is when I subtract it here, I'd subtract it also here. That leaves me with zeros in those places, and I get 2 equals negative 3, which is not true. There is no solution. The worksheet you're going to be working on will have some equations where there are solutions, like the first few we solved. There'll be some that have no solutions, and there will be some that have infinite solutions.